I've been going through something. 994 days. I've been going through something. Was it worth it? Here's what I came to understand. It's okay not to journal every day. Life gets busy, and sometimes you just can't find the time to journal. I am not stressing about it. I try to reflect on my behavior, why I didn't manage to journal that day, to learn from it. But remember, we're not robots. Digital versus paper journaling. I personally love the feel of pen and paper and like to keep developing my handwriting because I use my computer for almost everything. But my girlfriend prefers digital journaling because it's faster and more efficient. There is no right or wrong here, so use whatever works best for you and be true to your intentions. Don't force yourself to do specific practices just because somebody on YouTube recommended them. I did that way too often. Understand the reason why you want to journal. Are they truly aligned with your goals and what you like? Also, grocery lists are okay. Your journaling doesn't have to be profound all the time. Even if it's just jotting down a grocery list, that's completely fine. Remember, there are no rules to journaling. If you want to know, this is the journal I use. It is not too big. It has thick blank pages because I can use the page however I want, and it only costs around 15 bucks. For me, that's perfect. Over the past 994 days, I've used my journal for a variety of random shit. And some practices I continued, others not really. So I went through all my journals and I will show you the practices that I found worthwhile. The first thing is a brain dump. A couple of times a month, when I feel a little overwhelmed, I write Mike's brain in the middle of the page and put everything I'm thinking about onto paper. Details about my work, my university work, chores, everything that's on my mind. I think this is so useful because our brains aren't built to handle everything at once, right? It's not like a web browser where you can leave tabs open without issues. And this creates some mind space. I use it as well to organize my priorities. Once all that shit from the brain dump is on paper, I can observe it all in front of me. Then I organize it into categories and prioritize tasks by color coding them. I break larger tasks into smaller, less overwhelming ones, and for fun and to make it unconventional, I call these tasks side quests to make productivity more enjoyable for myself. A bit of gamification. I also journal on my weekly intentions. When I started out, I made an intentions for the week page. Now, I don't always create a full intentions page every week, but I do think it's a great way to get started on the self-development journey. I made a whole video on setting up a one-page intention sheet, so if you're interested, check out that video. How I create my current game plan is to look at my organized side quest list and pick the 3 most important side quests in the beginning of the day. Sometimes I do more if I complete them quite quickly, but believe me, it's a great way to follow up on my own intention instead of being unrealistic with my 10 to-dos and affecting my self-confidence if I don't complete them all. I've learned this the hard way, believe me. I also use it for reflecting whenever I feel like it. Reflection is often recommended for self-awareness. How else are you going to learn from your current behavior? But I do have to confess, I don't do this every day. It takes some effort to sit down, be vulnerable and write about my thoughts. But I found a system that works for me. I keep a journal nearby every time I have a relaxation moment and just jot down whatever comes up. Because in those instances, I can dig way deeper in my brain and psyche. And then the next day, I just review what I wrote down.
I really like a nice toasted sandwich.
This one is very cool, the emotion wheel. Speaking of reflecting, this has been a great help for me for when I was in a very stressful period in my life. Every day for a couple of weeks, I used the emotion wheel to understand why my emotions were the way they were. At some point though, all of my days turned out happy. And at that point I knew, okay, maybe I can trade this exercise for a weekly gratitude exercise. But during stressful periods, it can strengthen our emotional intelligence and help us understand what's going on inside our mind and body. So I would highly recommend it. I also use it for notes on my interests. I'm a curious guy and I love to take notes on interesting podcasts, books, and YouTube videos. And like I said, writing these by hand helps me remember it better. I can connect texts, use colors, and write my own thoughts next to it. However, if I need to take more detailed notes for university, I use my computer because it's a lot of info and it's way easier to make long summaries that way. There's also meeting notes and reflections. I try to document notes and reflections from coaching sessions. I personally am always striving for improvement. So besides normal notes on meetings, I'm always reflecting on what went well and what could have gone better. You can apply this for everything, by the way. Also group work on school, work meetings with colleagues, or whatever. I also love using my journal for drawings. I just love creating random shit. or sketch an idea for a painting. It's one of my creative outlets that adds another dimension to my journaling. I would highly recommend you to use your journal for anything besides words as well. Use your colors, use your crayons, use your paint, use your acrylic things, watercolor the shit out of it. It's such an important thing to use your journal for creative expression. Something that is within us all, but sometimes it's not coming out because we're in a very word and language oriented society. All our jobs are highly left part of our brain function, masculine energy focused. So if we don't actively use the creative energy in our brain and our body, then it bottles up, right? And we kind of lose that creative spirit that we had as a kid. I also think that is a great way to battle your perfectionism, because in the past I used to be very overwhelmed by a white page, but sometimes I just use my colored pens or my crayons to do whatever, and this breaks that barrier of have to create something perfect, otherwise I would rather not do it and be confronted with how shit it is. But because nobody will look into your journal and judge you but yourself, it's just a relationship between you and your insecurities. Now, I've created 4 pillars of wisdom that journaling has taught me over these past 994 days. Pillar 1 is cosmic humor. Through journaling, I've learned to laugh at my existence a little and embrace imperfection. There were times when I missed journaling for days. Instead of beating myself up over it because of my perfectionism, I learned to see the humor in it. Life is so completely unpredictable, right? And that's completely okay. Of course, journaling is a habit that helps our self-improvement. But over time, I came to realize that it is not the end of the world if I miss a day or two. It's about the overall process, the longevity of the habit, the many steps that build up to the whole, not everyday perfection. The second pillar is mind space and self-awareness. I think it goes without saying that journaling has become my mental sanctuary, a place where I can unload my thoughts and clear my mind. If all my worries, thoughts about the future, and random ideas are all on paper, you can imagine the space I have up here. Space I can use for positivity, love, curiosity, creativity, new goals I want to set for myself. Believe me when I say that it really has reduced my anxiety and improved my focus. It also heightened my self-awareness. And you can disagree with me here, but I don't think there can be any self-improvement without self-awareness. Like I just showed you, regularly reflecting on my thoughts and behaviors helped me understand my motivations, recognizing patterns in my behavior, and gaining an insight in my emotional state. And this self-awareness has been so crucial in my life because I can make way more intentional decisions that are really true to me. The third pillar is creativity and curiosity. I love that I use my journal as a creative playground. I always have colored pens and markers with me, and they are used heavily. Whether I'm making lists, or brainstorming, or doodling. Who came up with the word doodling, by the way? It's so quirky, but yeah, I use colors for all of that. Maybe the thought of which colors should I use for my intentions this week doesn't excite you, but for me it sparks my creativity and curiosity. It's a space where I can freely explore new ideas without judgment. And like I said, writing by hand in particular has increased my attention span and memory. It may be boring to us at first because it takes more time, right? But I highly recommend it in a world where TikTok chips away at our brain. This slower style of journaling really makes me think deeply about certain concepts, different perspectives, and I'm genuinely happy about that. The fourth and final pillar is discipline and structure. Journaling isn't just about writing. If you think about it, it is also about commitment and consistency. By setting intentions for the week and month, organizing my tasks, and regularly reflecting on my progress, I've developed a strong sense of discipline and structure. I really believe discipline is the strongest form of self-love because it involves making choices today that will benefit future you. You know, whether you're just starting out on your self-development journey or if you're well on your way, I think incorporating discipline into your life is a powerful way of showing yourself love and commitment. So these are the 4 pillars that journaling has taught me. Each thing that I wrote in my journal has been part of my self-development process, like making this video for you. So I really want to thank you for joining me on this little exploration if journaling is actually worth it, because I think it definitely is. Remember, the beauty of journaling lies in its flexibility. There are no rules to journaling, only guidelines that you can adapt to your unique style. Feed the mind, the body, and the soul, as one cannot function without the other. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck on your journal journey, and much love.